Yes, first of all, happy birthday to Nikwa, who was one of the girls that had the idea for this hangout, and Latifa also, who you guys are going to hear from. I just wanted to start this off by saying, like, I mentioned this on the Daily Grind this morning, but this really is a family, and I feel so genuinely good all the time speaking to you guys. I don't feel uncomfortable speaking to you guys. I feel like it's a very safe zone, which is why I feel like this call just makes sense. So note, not necessarily a traditional business call. It's not, business tactics or anything. It's really just, let's chat. Let's have a real conversation. Oh, I can hear Andre's gonna hop on. But a couple of, our leaders, two actually new diamond coaches that did it together, and they're success partners, and they were having a conversation, and they reached out to me and said, I think this could be a really good, Nikwa literally said, as though we're sitting in a circle in a room, let's just chat it out. Let's just have an honest conversation, talk about how we're feeling. What do you say? What do you post? What do you not post? What's not okay? What's okay? And I just think it would be a good thing to have an open discussion. Once Andre hops, I know that Andre wanted to say something, but one thing that we did do was reach out to I always say my parent at corporate, but I'm not joking. I literally see Arnaud as a parent that half kind of raised me, because he'll put me in line when I need to get in line, and when I'm not, doing things that I should be doing, hitting my goals. And he's also there for me in terms of a friend. But one thing that he's always taught me is lean in when it gets hard. And he literally just said this, the discomfort, lean into it, which I think fits very perfectly to what's going on. And he always taught me to lead with love. If you're ever in an uncomfortable situation with the business, or you're trying to do something, always leading with love. And that's something that I've always done is, I always do come from a place of love, and it might be a hard conversation, but that's just two of the many things that I have learned from this awesome human. And he's going to talk to you guys first, but I know Andre wanted to say. Andre, did you want to say something, or am I totally putting you on the spot right now?
You're not putting me on the spot. No, I certainly did want to acknowledge sort of this unique opportunity we all have to do some good. What Angie and I always say, as individuals, we have an opportunity to impact dozens, maybe hundreds. And of course, some of us have big reaches and able to impact hundreds of thousands, but as a group, we can always impact millions. And I think this happens to be one of those unique situations where, we tend to talk a lot about business and the good things we want to do, and ending the trend of obesity and all the fantastic ethics we have from that standpoint. And it just so happens that something else that has been swept under the rug for a really long time is coming to the forefront. And it can be at once confusing, and it can be at once somewhat exciting, just in terms of feeling as though there's maybe something we can do to contribute. So that's part of the reason we wanted to have you on here. I think we've got some really knowledgeable voices on the team who can help us gain a lot of clarity. So without further ado, Arnaud Nakaha, if you've got some words of wisdom, we'd be so appreciative.
Hey, thanks, Andre, and thanks for having me. Thanks for leaning into your leadership, and thanks for leaning into something that you might not be completely comfortable with. And so I'm not going to, mince my words. I'm actually going to, first of all, share an experience that I had. And so I have friends that work across various sectors of corporate America. And I'm sure a number of you work in corporate Canada or corporate America. And this notion of corporate America sometimes is the workers are almost supposed to remove their humanity and sort of be these machines where you keep it business, you keep it, professional, which means you don't talk about anything outside of your work. And case in point, that really tears up my heart. Is I have a good friend that worked for a corporation that shall not be mentioned, but I exchanged with him. He saw me post our NAACP pledge of $1 million from Beachbody. And he sent me a text, and I'm just going to read it for you guys. He sent me a text and said, Beachbody, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. And I said, hey, what's up? Insert name. You all right? How you doing? Because it's been this heavy environment for this past week where you feel overwhelmed, and you watch that video and it brings up other videos and it just kind of piles up and you feel helpless. I don't know if anybody else on this call feels that way. It's just overwhelming. And the news and social media is sort of this spiral. So then he goes on and says, hey brother, I am torn by the news. What what are our kids going to deal with? And I said, this is terrible. And I was just talking to my wife about it. He then goes on and says, I am so overwhelmed. I am afraid. This is the part that just really hurt. I am afraid to comment on any of the issue for fear of reprimand from work. My company is not doing a thing, including not tolerating any talk about that. Now imagine having all this pressure on you and you're supposed to perform as if nothing happened. He goes on, he says, it's so disappointing. One person called me. She's a good friend and she knows my wife and I well, but not even my boss. I said something about being discouraged on a call, and the boss thought I was talking about the business. Talk about clueless and completely insensitive. Now you take that and you take Beachbody, and it's the complete opposite spectrum of what that person is dealing with. Matter of fact, if you follow Carl, over the weekend, he posted his first message and he just sort of opened up, and he was vulnerable, and he didn't say that he knew it all, and he didn't say that he could remotely understand what any person of color goes through, but he was vulnerable and he talked about it openly. And sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes he's just saying, I am uncomfortable saying this, not because I don't want to talk about it, but because I don't know what to say, and I don't know who I'm going to offend and not offend, but I will talk about it because this is an important time in our lives, a time that hopefully all of us are hoping and praying actually changes it forever versus doing another thoughts and prayers. I think that's what you're seeing across the board. It's like, it feels like it's the tipping point, right? So from a Beachbody standpoint, when Carl posted, I said, in my 16 years of, working professionally, 9 of which have been spent here with Team Beachbody, I've never seen a company where inclusion and innovation are so rewarded and are actually complementary. They actually work well together. Whenever we sit down and come up with products and programs, whenever there is actually diversity in the room, the ideas are better. The point of views are different. We represent who the market is and who the marketplace is and will be. And ultimately, the execution is much better because everybody is on board, right? And so the idea that companies would refuse to talk about it is they're just bucking the trend of where this society is going. We're going to be more diverse. There's going to be less of that. And you don't want to be behind the trend. Now, you need to lean into this. What I meant by that when I messaged Angie is, even if you're uncomfortable, you need to lean in. Even if you don't know what to say, you need to lean in. And I'm glad that a few of your coaches and leaders are going to speak. Shaniqua and Latifa are going to speak today and give us some ideas. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. But you have to say something, because that silence that I've seen even on my own personal Facebook page is deafening. It is ringing alarm bells all over the place when somebody doesn't even comment, doesn't say a thing, right? So today, what I hope that is, number one, you work for a company that is inclusive, that just doesn't say or just makes this pledge. I'm saying it as someone that works here and has worked here and knows the heart and spirit of both John Congdon and Carl Deichler. You work for a company that is putting their money where their mouth is. At the end of the day, we can protest, we can post black squares, but at the end of the day, we need to put pressure on the system, and part of the pressure needs to be financial support to the organizations that you believe in, right? So that's number 2. And number 3, saying something, it's really hard to say anything that is going to not help, right? And I'll leave you with this. Someone that's been such a great advocate for coaches of color is Keyshawn Graves. If you guys don't know Keyshawn, she's on the U.S. Coach Development Team. Just, a breath of fresh air, a ray of sunshine here. But for those of you that are interested in not only the community, but also the market, which is a humongous market that I believe we need to do better at tapping into and helping out with our solution. We do have a page called Beachbody Leadership and Culture Community, which is a page where you have, Black coaches, Hispanic coaches, and white coaches all there. But the focus is on how do we continue bringing all these solutions to communities of color to make sure that they get the same solutions that, everyone gets to enjoy. So feel free to request to be added to that page. It's BLACC. I think you're going to get, you're going to learn a lot in there, and ultimately you're going to get better for it. You're going to get better for it. We just left an executive meeting, Angie, and I'm going to toss it back to you. One of the things that we're doing, yes, we're posting the black squares on Instagram, but we've chosen to also suspend any sort of online advertising today. So we're not just posting the black square. We have decided to not do any online acquisition out there. The radio and the ads have already been planned in like months ahead. So that's going to happen. But from a social media standpoint, we've suspended everything today that has to do with online acquisition. So this is not just, we don't want it to be something that we do just today. We want it to be something that creates a tipping point for the good of the world, for the good of humanity. And that's absolutely the right thing to do. So Angie, Andre, I've probably taken more time than I anticipated. I got passionate about this, but I appreciate you guys leaning in. I appreciate everybody leaning in, and really do appreciate the people that are about to share on here as well. So I'll hang out for a few minutes and let you guys go. But I hope something that I shared, makes a difference and gives you a clue as to what to share in the spirit of who Beachbody is as well.
Absolutely. Good person through and through. You're just the best. You can tell, Andre always says this, like, you can tell a lot by the leadership of a company. And every time that we're like, even the fact that we can chat one-on-one and just have a human conversation, when you see the leadership behind Beachbody, which is what you're hearing from right now, it's mind blowing. Like, it's not, and it's sad, but it's not the norm. And with Beachbody, it really is special. And Keyshawn, yes, the best. I love Keyshawn. And I feel like everything that you've already shared was just so much light, and you're so right. Like, you got to do more than just post a black square on your Instagram. So thank you again for being here. We really appreciate it. Andre, did you have anything else to share before I pass it over to the girls?
No, I'm eager to hear what
the
rest of our speakers have to say. But
So
thank you so much on all that. That was super helpful.
Thank you so much. And thank you for your time and your honesty and everything. So these girls I got to work with them a little bit closer, got to know them a little bit closer over the past month at pretty much the exact same time. And I said to Andre after I spoke to them, I love these girls. You know what I love? Their passion and their honesty. They're, you know what? They don't sugarcoat it. They're just, this is how it is. So when they messaged me, Latifa and Nikwa were in a little chat together, and they messaged me and said, I really think we have to have a good roundtable discussion. One, blown away by the leadership of that. Like, that takes balls. So amazing to be able to lead a call like this, but also just the heart of, like, let's have a good conversation. I trust in people to show up to this with positive minds, and let's do it. So I'm on my end incredibly proud to be aligned with people like this. I'm incredibly proud to call you guys my friends and to be able to have a genuine and honest conversation like this. But holy moly, just to your soul, like, just a good freaking person. So thank you guys for technically being the hosts of this. I hope you guys know you are the hosts. So I'll pass it over to you girls, and I will be eager to listen. I'll be in the comments. I'll be here. Andre and I are going to stay here, but I'm excited to hear from you guys.
Tiff, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go, and we can kind of spitball this thing together if you want.
Okay. Hey, you guys. I am Nikwa. Thank you, Angie, for even saying yes to something like this. Like, it just shows your heart, because you, could have said no in 2 heartbeats. Because you're the head honcho, but thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be a part of, a positive outlet like this, because everybody doesn't have a positive outlet to go to like this in light of everything that's going on. But I just wanted to start out with a little meditation. This is from the book of John 13 verse 34. Excuse my child, y'all, she will not get down. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. And that is just my whole premise and everything. I am one of those type of people that's like, for better or for worse, like world peace, like let's love everybody, let's be happy, let's lead with love. So that is what I just wanted to start talking about. I'll just be totally transparent and honest. I felt myself going lower and lower, energy-wise. I call it like a negative vibration. Saturday morning, so I'm in Atlanta, and so Friday night, me and my fiance, like we basically went to bed, scrolling social media, looking at the lives, looking at what was going on right downtown, you know, the riot and everything, and woke up Saturday morning, same thing. And, you know, like it really creeps up on you. And as positive as I am and as positive as, you know, coaching is for me and my challenge group and all that, like it's still, and I can only imagine people that are on social media or watching it on the news 24/7, you know, they're like, their vibration is just so negative, right? And it creeps in mentally. And I like realized it about myself when it was Saturday. It was this past Saturday, and I was still in the bed and I was like just laying there, just scrolling. And I first thought like, okay, you know, I need to do these vitals, but how? Like, I don't even know like how to approach it. I don't feel comfortable sharing. I don't want to feel like, you know, I have a duplicative agenda. How do I share when I personally don't feel in the right space? Not only as a business, you know, a person with a business, but also just as a person and as a minority. And so I expressed it. I actually expressed it to Latifah. I got myself out of it because the first step, you know, anything you're going through mentally is creating that awareness and doing something intentionally to raise your spirits. But yeah, that's what I really wanted to come on here and talk about. For me, for the thing that got me out of it was I just start diving more into things that I was seeing on social media and people specifically that were posting things that were inspirational to me, and looking at them. And not only did it lift my spirits as a person, but it also got me in a better headspace of, okay, how do I continue to share the opportunity and be this light that we're supposed to be, and not feel like not feel weird about it. And also the page that he mentioned, that BLACC, like literally like that same day, I'm a part of that page too. And I go on it from time to time, and literally that same day, some girl went in there and said the same thing and created a thread. Like, I just don't feel comfortable. What do I say? You know, with everything that is going on. And it was a long thread, and it basically was just saying like, you just have to be the light. And I think it's hard for us we know that and we hear that, and you know, but it's hard to really take it in when we ourselves aren't at a great place, in a great headspace, when our energy is down. So it, like, you know, we've all heard about filling your cup. Like, this is the time to really, really do things that fill your cup, so you can be at the very least, like, be at a place where you can at least be open and honest about what you're going through, and be transparent, because other people are feeling the same way. So for me, that was like diving into like love. Like, for me, like, I believe, you know, love can like fix anything. So like today I posted with my Black Lives Matter, like, you know, love thy neighbor. You know, I have a child, so that's literally like, in that same day on Saturday, I literally took a nap in the middle of the day, and Paisley, my daughter, like, she covered me up and she put the cover over me and she kissed me and she tucked me in, and it just made me realize, like, if we as a society and as a world, if we really hold on to the basic fundamentals and principles that God, the higher power, whoever, whatever you want to call it, like, wants us to dive into and teach these things to our children when they're high, like we wouldn't have this problem. And the problems that we are having is because it's a lack of empathy, and it's lack of empathy because, you know, it's like it's not happening to you, it's not happening in your home, it's maybe not happening to anybody that you know, so it's way easier to separate and remove yourself. But I'm glad that we're going in the direction that we're going, because the first step is awareness. And I believe that we're on track to the second step, which is more and more people are getting the courage to speak out. But I know it can be very uncomfortable. And even for me, I don't know everything. It's uncomfortable as well. But I'm just so thankful for you guys, you know, for being on here. And we really want this to be a safe space. You know, after we get done talking, we want everybody to be able to share, ask questions, share their experiences, and for all of us to just, like how Angie said, like this can be like the red table talk of like Team UpRoar, if y'all know what red table talk is. So, Latifah, over to you.
Yeah, no, that is everything. I mean, leading with love is just like the world can't have enough of it, right? So if you just lean into love and just love on one another the way that you want to be loved, I think that it makes a world of a difference. Some of you guys might not understand, and like I see a lot of like, I might not understand, but I stand, you know, like, you know how people are posting that today? Yeah, I see a few nods. So think of it this way. I saw today someone posted like, it was, we're all just one bullet away from being a hashtag. Let that sink in for a second. And now think of it like you have a target on your back times 10 because of the color of your skin. How does that make you feel? Type in the chat. I want to know. Let's see. Like throwing up. Yeah, right? Exactly. Exactly. I can't see everybody that's on, but I can imagine there's a mix. I know that there's a mixed bag. Tears, heartbreaking, scared, fearful, terrifying, a cold chill, right? Exactly. So you guys you might not understand, but think of it that way. That is one way for you to just have a new point of view on the matter. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter that you volunteer, that you give back. It's literally just because people hate the color of your skin. Like in the simplest way, that's how I break it down. I see some nodding. So leading with love, I mean, just loving people wholeheartedly because you're full of love. And I think that comes from just filling your cup and just knowing that, like, if we stand divided, we're never going to get past this. I see some tears. You guys are going to make me cry. Stop it. Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, I know that's just what it is. So if we lock arms and we just push together through this, we're going to be stronger than our opposition. We're going to be stronger than all the hate that's out there. And it comes from just leading in a place of love. So just to cap off of what Nikwa said there. Go ahead, girl. You can hit topic 2.
Just to piggyback off what you said, I just want to share this experience when you said, like, it doesn't matter, your background doesn't matter anything. So Saturday, what got me even more like, are you freaking kidding me? So again, I am that world peace. Oh, I want everything to be good type of person. And I asked my fiance Jeremy. I asked him, I said, Jeremy, I said, like, honest opinion, because I've never, been, to my knowledge, like blatantly racially profiled. I've never, thankfully, fortunately, had the feeling of when a cop comes up, like, oh my gosh, my life. That hasn't been a thought in my mind, fortunately. So I asked, the closest man to me, basically, my fiance, I said, Jeremy, like, have you ever, like, just let me know, like, have you ever had that feeling, like when you see a cop, you think, like, this might be my last breath, or, I might be harmed, or, And he was like, yeah. And I was mind blown. And what the initial reason why I was just like shook was because I'm thinking, and I said it out loud, I'm like, what? I was like, that is crazy to me. Like, you are a clean cut man, nice looking man, 2-parent household, middle class, like football athlete, all this. And he was like, yeah. And then after I said all that out loud, I felt even worse because I said all that out loud, because I'm like giving all those reasons why, well, a cop shouldn't dare. Like, what? That's crazy. Like, you're Jeremy Springer. And he was like, yeah, Nick, well, don't nobody give a damn about that. Like, all he saw, especially when I was in school going back and forth from Missouri to Georgia, like, it was plenty of times where I get stopped by the cop. I pull over. The first thing they say, you got any drugs in the car? Where are you going? Why are you going to Missouri? What are you doing? And I was like so shook. I'm like, what? And so I think, you know, a lot of times, like, even for me, like, because, you know, I don't have a whole lot of personal experiences of family members or close friends, you know, being targeted like that, but I hear about it. So I can only imagine, you know, people that have no connection at all, like you. And it's something I've learned from my daughter's speech therapist. There's a difference between hearing and listening. You know, you can hear a lot of stuff. You can hear stuff on the news. You can hear stuff in the social media. You can hear about instances. Hell, you can even see them. I mean, we have cameras. You can see all type of stuff. But after a while, like, if you don't have something that's closely connecting it to you, it just becomes white noise and you're just hearing it. But listening is actually opening up your ears, and not only listening to the words and actually watching, but asking questions, asking why, and what can I do to help? And I think that's where we're leading more towards it. So I am thankful for that. And so that's what the next thing that I wanted to talk about is having the courage to listen to other people's perspectives, having the courage to open up your hearts and have empathy, because we all know there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is, oh, that's so sad, bless their hearts, like, oh, that's so sad for them. And empathy is like truly, like, you know, understanding. And that, like that exercise Latifah just did, like, let's close our eyes and imagine all of us have a bullet, you know, on our back. Like, what is the most thing and the best thing that you can do to put yourself in somebody else's shoes that may have a different circumstance than you, so you can feel as empathetic as you can for them. And that is when we're going to be able to move more and more forward. And I think just by us doing this right now and being on this call, and all of you, like, obviously it shows, you know, that you guys are willing to see different people's perspectives. I actually, in school, I did a lot of anthropology, and that was one thing, is like anthropology, sociology, like being willing to open up yourself and to listen to other people's cultures and perspectives and everything like that. So that's one thing that I just want to talk about, is like having the courage. And we can open it up with people. You let me know, like, we can open this topic up, like, if you guys want to ask questions. Okay, well, what things can I do or ask to, you know, how can I go about it to not look crazy or stupid, but not look crazy, or I don't know, like, take away some of the uncomfortable sense of feeling, but just having a better way of showing your empathy and learning how to be empathetic with people. Mommy. If you can talk to if you want. Mommy.
Yeah, I mean, we can open the floor if that's something that you want to do. There's also, like, I can post after if we have like I know we have a thread going on Facebook. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can start to learn and educate yourself on the topic and how to move forward. So there are a bunch of like links, there are a bunch of books that we can share with you. Go out and vote for some states. Like, we're voting for primary presidential candidacy today. So make sure, if you're one of those states, go out and vote, because your voice matters, and we need to take control of the situation. And like, we just need better leaders in this country. So going out and vote, educating yourself, donating to the cause. There are so many different ways that you can donate as well into different organizations that are trying to move the needle with us. So just really being that ally and starting there if you can't find the words to say yet, because the educated mind, like in your day-to-day conversations, you can stop any of that hate or any of that negativity that you're seeing in your day-to-day with the people that you come into contact with, you know? So, I mean, if you can't find the words to actually speak and post yet, at least start filling your mind with some knowledge so that you can be that person that shuts down the negativity if and when it arises.
Truth. I think Arnaud has something that he unmuted himself. And the man
I've done such a great job, and quite frankly, I can't duplicate what you guys just did. Honestly, if you look at social, you know, like the exercise that Latifa just had us go through, or Shaniqua asking people, friends of yours, right? It's so funny. I actually did that same thing with a close group of friends, and I asked them, hey, so have you ever had to deal with it? And every single one of them, including myself, had to deal with something like that. And so on the posting, you're going to see there's a spectrum, right? On this end, if you look at Ruth Schroner's post, she actually posted about it. She posted about an incident that happened in their cul-de-sac where there's a high-speed chase and there's like 4 or 5 police cars following this person that was leading him on the high-speed chase. He had just stolen the car. He then jumps out and he's got his hands up. He happens to be Caucasian. You know, they apprehend him. No fuss, no big deal. And then she leaves with the question of, what if he was African American? Would he still be alive today? Right? So like on the sort of the heavy and very out there, that's this spectrum, right? And then I've seen, you know, sort of in the midst, which is if you follow Lori Stewart, she's another one I want to just give you examples, right? So that, you know, sometimes it's easier that way. Lori Stewart, whose fiance is African-American, and she talks about his experience and what he had, you know, to deal with. So that's sort of like middle here. And then you move over this side, you have people that are just allies and don't know what to say, don't know what to do, and are actually asking questions of their audience of, what should I do? And man, like they've got all kinds of feedback on things that they can do. Saying that, you know, Latifa, you were talking about organizations, you know, there's so many different organizations, they got a lot of feedback, right? So it's sort of a spectrum of that. And I guess another one would be like just posting the square and putting, what is the hashtag? Someone help me. I actually posted it today, because you're not supposed to put Black Lives Matter. You're supposed to put Blackout Tuesday. Blackout Tuesday. So like there's a spectrum of things. Find what you're comfortable with. But I would also ask you to lean in, right? Because, you know, those that are sort of like here don't really push the envelope. And if you truly want, and if you have it in here, right? Like nobody's forcing anybody to do anything. I think it's important to listen to your heart, to your spirit. And then I think I saw somewhere in this comment to share, you know, to create a thread in UpRoar and then, you know, get ideas. But hopefully, like I said, this is a tipping point to a better humanity. And, you know, Angie, thank you I was planning to be on for 10 minutes, but I've been really here. And this is important work that you guys are doing. And I thank you all for the time.
It's so good. I feel like a lot of people's cups, as Nikwa said, a lot of people's cups are going to be pretty full after this, of just understanding. Also, one example I wanted to give just on that point, one of probably the coaches that I've known her for a really long time that would probably be really uncomfortable posting on social media, and she's not on right now, I wish she was, but Emily Skender, she's probably off like taking care of her little 1-year-old, but she posted beautifully, and I said it to Andre, and I know that she was uncomfortable and she was brave and she shared, and she came from a place of like, this is the little human that I'm raising. These are the books I'm buying. This is what's in my Amazon shopping cart. And it was so authentic to her. It wasn't, you know, a random thing that she copy pasted. It was authentic to her. And this is how I'm being proactive. And I thought it was incredible. So I wanted to give that example and like that little shout out to Emily, because I just thought that was just perfect.
And just going off of that, sorry guys, if you can hear background noise, I always say this, I preface before I jump on a Zoom. I live in the city. There's trains, there's sirens, there's honking, there's so much chaos. So I apologize. I can hear people like in the back in the parking lot right now. it's just, so I'm seeing in the comments, like in the chat, and you guys totally unmute yourselves because this is supposed to be like a round table, like fireside chat here. But I'm seeing some people say that they're terrified to post on social media. And I just want to know why. Like, what is more terrifying than stepping out of your comfort zone and just leaning in and being authentically you, like Angie was saying with Emily Skender, like how she still made it to her, you know, like she's posting about raising a little human the way that she wants him to be raised, in the way that, like, she's shaping how he views the world, right? And I think someone in the comments said they're raising their half nephew or somebody. So, I mean, but you're also scared to talk about it. So how do you think that little boy is going to grow up if he doesn't hear people combating that on a day-to-day? If he doesn't see the people that he looks up to fighting for what's right? You know, like when he gets older, or when your grandkids get older, when your kids get older and they talk about 2020 and how weird of a year this has been and how crazy insane it has been, don't you want to say that you were trying to fight for justice and you were using your voice to do that? Think about it. So, I mean, if you don't know what to say, I mean, I would recommend first just educating yourself on the topic, doing some research, like I love me a good old Google search. You know, you start there, and you can also use the links that we're going to share in the chat as well. But I mean, just come from a place of love and be that light that so many people need. So make a post about how you feel. I mean, we just walked through an exercise about, you know, being a target just because of the color of your skin, no matter how good of a person you were. Or, you know, being pulled over because maybe your tail light's out, and being worried that you might not make it home that day if you get stopped by the wrong cop because of the color of your skin. So take a minute and really do some personal, like, reflection. However that makes you feel, write it down, put it into words, and then share that with the world. Because you might not fully understand because you don't have, like, you're not a minority, you don't have those day-to-day problems, but you can talk about if the shoe was on the other foot. So let's open it up for questions. I'm not recent with the chat, so.
I got you. So Tiffany
Okay.
wants to say something, and then Taylor wants to say something. We'll go from there.
Cool. Tiffany, unmute yourself, girl.
Hey.
Hey.
Glad that I'm so thankful, even more.
Are you getting your hair done?
Yes.
You are amazing. Okay.
Amazing. Thanks for joining.
I did not want to miss this because this really, truly connects to me and it resonates with me so much. And I did not want to miss this because I'm just grateful, even more so, to be a part of this company and a part of this team, especially. But I wanted to speak up on why it may feel uncomfortable, because I know even as a Black person, I felt uncomfortable for years, and I didn't realize it until this incident happened. It took everything out of me, and like the other girls were saying, I was scared, and I laid in bed crying all weekend, and I did not know where to go. And then finally, on Sunday, I'm like, I need to share my story. And I shared it. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done, because all throughout my life, I don't think people knew what I've been through. And that was the problem. I hadn't talked about my experiences. So if you don't understand, say you don't understand and just start that conversation. That's what I've been encouraging with my friends, because they don't get it. They didn't get it, and now they're starting to get it, and they're starting to ask questions. And as we just need to make sure that we're being that safe space for people to understand that you can ask questions and you won't get judged by us. So that's kind of that's what I have to say.
For sure. Thank you. I mean, it all starts with curiosity. Anything starts with curiosity. You know, joining Beachbody started with curiosity. We all saw Angie, like, how the hell is she living this life? I want that life, right? And here we are. So curiosity goes a long way. And if you don't know, then just reach out and try to find the answers. And I think, Taylor, you had a question? Do you want to unmute yourself, girlfriend?
I didn't have a question. It was
Can I
more
show
just...
you out, Taylor?
Oh, what?
Taylor's post also on social media was like,
thank you. Please don't. I'm trying. I'm gonna start crying.
Cry away.
So hopefully I don't.
I already did, so it's okay if you do.
Okay, it was more about the comment about the biracial comment. So for those of you who don't know or can't tell, I'm Black and I am white. I was raised by my white mother, and I haven't really ever talked about anything political ever, because for a very long time I didn't feel like I had a voice to. For most of my life I've been for most of my life I've been told what I am not. And I don't want to say by both sides, but it's been by both sides. And so I was actually confronted with a situation. I think it was Saturday night. Somebody that I used to work with had posted something, and stupidly, my husband told me not to say anything, but I did. I'm not going to go into the details of what it was, but the comment that was brought to me was essentially that I had no room to speak on the topic, that that because my mother is white, and because I'm privileged, and because I married a white man and I have a Black father, I have no room to speak. And that alone, and you know what pisses me off about that is that it's not even about, like, shame on that person, number one, for saying that to me, but it's not even about that. It's about, number one, making a cause that's about equality and about corruption, period, should not be about that no one who, whatever someone's skin color is, means that they don't get to speak on it because they don't know how it feels. And so for those of you who are afraid to speak out, like, I ask you, just like Latifah said, why? Because after that happened, I spoke out and I posted a post and I said, do not ask me to speak based on my privilege. Do not ask me to speak because of the color of my skin. Ask me to speak as a freaking human being, period. Because that's what we all should be doing. And my heart goes out to, I don't know who posted that about raising a biracial nephew. I don't know who, because there's so many comments. I don't know who said that, but my heart goes out to you, and my heart goes out to my mother, because when the day I was born, I think the LA riots had started the day before. My mom, the single mom, was like, I don't know what to do. I have this baby and I don't know what kind of world she's going to grow up in. But my mom did everything she could to make sure that even if my generation was not the one that fixed this, that I was one of the few who knew to do the right thing and always lead with love. And so I hope that you just lead with love. Just teach your children to love everybody regardless of whatever. And if they're ever confronted with a situation where they're called something negative, or they're ever confronted with a situation that calls for or it's any kind of racism, which I hope to God they're not, but if they are, just teach them that that person just needs more love in their life, period. Because that's what this should be about. Not the color of your skin, not who, literally who you are as a person to your core is what we should all believe about each other. And I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant, but that's just that. I just wanted to say that because it hit me.
So it's so true. And so I have a white boyfriend, right? And he said it perfectly. And he basically was like, we are all one race. We're the human race, you guys. And that's it. We're all human. We're allowed to speak our truth. To Taylor's point, if she has a story to tell, so who has the right to strip that of her and tell her not to talk on it? That's not fair. Even if she doesn't, that's no one else's place to tell you what you can and can't talk about. So talk about how you feel, lead with a place of love, and just speak your truth. Lean into this community and honestly just link arms with everybody and go forward together as a unified front. That's the only way we're going to get through this and really, truly squash it.
And that's why, up until this point where I feel like we're actually making a shift, that's why nothing really has gotten done over the hundreds of years, because it's only been that one sector of people who are affected only talking about it. But when you make it, like Taylor said, when you make it not a white thing, not a Black thing, not a this, not a that, but you make it like a human being problem. I think in my post today, I said, this is not just a minority thing. This is an American problem. I would recant and say, what Taylor said, this is a human being problem, because other countries are even, standing behind everything that's going on now. But when you make it a human being problem, it removes that feeling of oh, that's not my problem, And I can even, so another thing that I thought about was that, you know, I watched the video. Oh my gosh, the video. Don't even get me started on the video. But I think I maybe saw something on somebody's social media or something, and it was something about an animal or something. It was like, just think about it. Like, think about if you put an animal, like a dog or a cat or whatever, in place, and like somebody videoed that, like, how would you feel? And me, myself, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I would be like, what the hell? Like, you put, like, you're on a dog's neck for that long. It would be an outrage. You know, we love our animals. It'd be an outrage. And the fact that even me, like, I thought about it and I was like, wow. Now, you know.
Do you remember that video with, they're calling her Central Park Karen? I don't know who that girl was, but she was coming, they were in a dog park and she didn't have her dog on a leash. So some black man was like,
yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am, can you please put your dog on a leash? And she was like, I'm calling the police. A black man threatening my life. And she was like holding the dog by the collar, and the dog was like barking, and like everyone was like, she's about to kill that damn dog. And it was just like, that's what just made me think of that.
Yeah, and so I thought of that, and I was like, wow, Nicola, like, you're saying like that would be more of a, not an outrage, but it would be more like surprising if you saw, you know, an animal being harmed like that in broad daylight, you know, being videoed, versus like, oh, you're seeing another minority, and you know, something. So it's like I said, it can go radio, you know, white noise, and it just becomes a norm. But the way that we make it not a norm anymore is what we are doing now. Like, people that are uncomfortable, they don't know what to say. Like, it has been making me feel so good, and even making me have more confidence in speaking up when I'm seeing all of my friends from high school. Like, I'm from a small town, seeing all my friends from high school just plainly saying, I don't know what to say, but I'm here. One of my coaches now is on the call. I don't know what to say. And she said something, I don't know what to say, but I stand with you, or I'm, you know, like, that's all it takes, you know, because we are all feeling some type of way. Do you have something else to say?
Afraid of judgment. Someone said that they're afraid of judgment, and judgment from people that you know, judgment from like people that you don't know is a mixture of both. Can you clarify that? It's like a bunch of letters and numbers, so I'm not sure who. But honestly, if someone's judging you for speaking your truth and coming from a place of love, they're not for you, honey. Doesn't matter if they're your friend, doesn't matter if they're blood. Like, if they're gonna judge you for speaking your truth and trying to be on the right side of justice and history, girl, block and delete, okay? Block and delete.
I want to speak on that. One thing that I did, I was talking to Heatherly about this today. If you take, Emily Skender's on. I just messaged her and I said, you know, if you take any heat for anything, because I like slightly, just give them a heart right back. Like, the post is to spread love, like you said, like, to unify us. We're one, to just bring a little bit of light and a little bit of joy at the very least, if that's what you're going to do today and you're going to post. But if someone has something to say in the comments, which some people will, just hit them back with a heart. Like, just, you know, love you. Like, that's literally, and I think that's the best thing you could do. So I shared that with one of my coaches, so I just wanted to share that with you guys. But don't be afraid of judgment. Like, for the most part, people will know that you're coming from a good place.
And Penny, you said you wanted to talk. Go ahead and unmute yourself, girl.
Okay, cool. I'm also trying to get ready for work. Mine kind of goes like with Tiffany. I did a video yesterday, and I mean, I'm getting kind of emotional now. Like, my dad is Sicilian and Egyptian. My grandma's from Cairo, but she's also part African. And like, I know I look pretty white. My mom is like Swedish and German, blonde, blue, her whole family is. And like, the only thing I get was like, people are like, what's wrong with your hair? You know, that's it. That's all I get. But my dad I live in a tiny little bitty town up in Ohio. Right now I moved from LA up this way, and there's like 2,000 people. My dad came to visit me for 4 days. And then out of 4 days, we had cops come 3 out of the 4 days because he was in my front yard. Like, I mean, I grew up with that because that's just how my family is. And I get like what she's talking about, because I made it like ADHD. I was talking about like, you know, hashtag, and I said it, I was like, look, all lives matter. And I didn't mean it like offensively. And I was saying like humans, the same thing. You know, I teach my kids, like, we don't
Oh, did we lose her? Penny?
Can anybody hear her? I can't
Can
hear
anybody
you.
hear her? Penny, something's wrong with your audio. If you can hear us.
She can't hear either.
Girl.
I don't think she can hear us either
She
because.
can't.
Oh, maybe she can. No.
No, she can't.
Okay. Well, while her connection gets fixed, Healy, you had something to say. Go ahead, girl.
Hey, okay. I'll keep it short, and I can get kind of heated about this stuff, so hopefully this doesn't offend anybody. But speaking as a white person, I've watched friends of mine who are still silent right now, and I've watched a lot of people feel confused about what to do or what to say. And to that, I say, maybe you do feel uncomfortable speaking out right now for a few minutes, making your post. Maybe you felt uncomfortable for the past few days or during what's going on this week, but you are addressing an issue that has made people uncomfortable and that has hurt people for hundreds of years. So get over yourself. Like, sorry. That's how I feel about it.
Yes, I love it.
But on a more positive note, check in with your people. I was texting some of my friends who I assumed were being blown up. You know, you don't want to bother every Black friend that you have with their questions when people are overwhelmed right now. But like, send them some love. I was actually really bummed when I reached out to some friends and they were like, you're one of like 2 people who's reached out. So just make sure that you're checking in, sending the love.
Thank you. And Yesenia? Hey girl, I think you said something. If you want to chat.
Huh?
You said you wanted to say something?
Oh, whew. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm like shaky and I'm, ooh, okay. No, for me, I'm a mother of a Black girl, a Black queen. And I say this, and it has been hard to work the business, stay sane. It has been hard to hold my emotions and not let my daughter see me like this. And so that's like from the beginning, whoo, I was the one like crying like crazy because it is hard, you guys. I get it. What Shaniqua, you were saying that you were like in bed and you don't know, because I get the same thing as Tiffany. I'm Mexican and I'm American. I do not look, I'm not the color of my daughter. My daughter is Black. You can't deny it. You see her hair, head to toe, and she's proud of her. And I've raised her because I know I can't give her that culture. I know I can't, I know I can't feel what she feels. I don't get looked at the way she does. I don't get looked at the way she does because she has a mother that's non-Black. And so we've dealt with all that. I've gotten things told to me because I'm not Black. I've gotten things told to her since elementary school. She has been bullied. She has been treated differently. So I've been through this, and it's kind of, I was upset with myself because I didn't know how to put my emotions out there, where I think 2 days ago, I finally went in my stories and said something of like how it's crazy to wrap around it, but it happens. And I think it hurts me even more because I don't know what to say, because I'm dealing at home with explaining all this to her. Because even though she doesn't have social media, even though we're not running the news every day, if she goes on YouTube, if she goes on Google, she's seeing it. She's 13 years old. She knows it. If you guys, I say it all the time, if you know my daughter, I am incredibly blessed because this little woman is proud to be Black, is proud of the color she looks. She is proud that she has me as a mother. She is proud of the things I do. And it hurts that we have to teach her that she does get treated differently because she's of a skin color. And then we have to deal with the questions, but why do I get treated differently and you don't? And how come I can't look like you, Mom? How come I can't have your hair?
when I get bullied because of my hair. A huge thing is my daughter, she loves rocking a natural, because I always voice it. I'm like, girl, rock it. She loves an afro. She rocks it. And she has been told at school that her hair is too big, that she can't be having the fro so big. So how do you think that she feels in that way? So it just been, for me personally, at home, I teach her as much as I can. I don't put her in a bubble. I never do, because it's life. Sadly, being a minority, I've grown up with seeing a lot of things like this. I grew up surrounded by many different cultures, so I see it and I know it, but it is so hard to, I guess, use my platform to speak up on this. It is so hard right now, because as a mother of her, it's being incredibly hard to voice something without so much sadness or anger, because I'm telling you, we've dealt with this with my daughter. I'm telling you, since elementary school, we've gotten many situations till this day, like I said, till this day. So I want to say that. But I'll tell you this, the moment I showed up on my stories, the moment I spoke, you don't need to have a story, but the moment you do, it is something. And if I can say anything as a mother, I'm teaching her every day. Like I said, if I'm not hiding it from her, I'm not keeping it, why would I hide it from the world, like people that I'm sharing it? I don't keep this away from her. I share everything. I'm very open with it, because it's the real world. That's how I see it.
For sure. Thank you for sharing your story. So when someone tells your daughter that her hair is too big, because this happens to me when my hair's out all the time, they're like, you're blocking my view. Girl,
yeah.
The hair is the view, okay? There's nothing else to see but this fro out. That's what you have to say. Just keep it moving. Just to share some light.
I love that. I love that.
So I wanted to, Latifah, you let me know if this is okay. I wanted to go into our last open discussion topic of, like Yesenia, I totally agree. It's like you feel it, but it's like, how do you put it into words, and how do you go about sharing it? Have all of these personal emotions going on. Hold on, P. So I wanted to go into lastly, like maybe some advice, or we can just like mastermind and help one another figure out ways to actually tangibly share and also keep spreading the light, which is what we're here for as coaches, and like how to, as obviously when the Blackout Tuesday passes, but as we continue to, work our business and invite people to this community, this awesome community. I mean, like I said, like who has this? Like literally, like I don't even consider this as like, health and fitness is what we do, but this thing is literally the thing that has like saved me and has kept me going, not just in this instance, but literally since I joined. So we can just open the floor up and like share our suggestions and like different things that we're possibly doing, not only on social media, but like in our challenge groups as well. Like I'll share one thing that I did. One thing that I've been doing in my challenge group every Sunday is doing something called Sunday devotion. Well, when I did it this past Sunday, I asked a new girl in the challenge group to, if they want to go in and do a short video and just talk about anything, whether it's a testimony, something they've been through the past week, share scripture, whatever that they want to share. And the girl that shared this past Sunday, and mind you, I was still coming off that like negative energy vibe from that Saturday. She got my spirits up so high, and not only my spirits, I know she made a difference in everybody else's spirits that was a part of the challenge group. And she was basically like, what I had to share was something totally different what I'm about to share in light of what's going on. And she literally, it was like a 7-minute word basically. She talked about this Bible passage about God having like 100 sheep, and something happened to one of the sheep, and everybody else is like, why are you going after that one sheep? Like, that's just one sheep. Like, why are you risking, like, you know, our safety or something like that? And then he was just like, you know, like, that's the essence of love. And so we have to focus on, like, everybody and not just have that mentality of, oh, that's just one less person. We have to focus on everybody. But anyway, she did amazing. She lifted my spirits. So yeah, we can just open it up and maybe just hear from different people. What are some things that maybe you've been doing with your coaches, your PS coaches, or in your challenge group, ways that can, you know, exhibit the light in other people, but also fill your cup in return, and just spread awareness on what's going on right now.
I have the question, Bree, do you want to talk?
Yeah, I've been
if you wanted to say something, and I feel like she might have some good tips.
Yeah, I'm like super emotional. So I've been I live in New York, so I've been going to protest the last few days, and yesterday was the craziest. We went to Brooklyn to McCarran Park, and 600 to 700 people showed up. And when we got there, we looked around and we're like, where are all the Black people? And I'm not familiar with Williamsburg. I don't go to Williamsburg a lot, but we ended up realizing that it was mainly a silent protest and a meditation. We got there, and as soon as I got to the field, a group of white people stopped me, and they were like, on behalf of our whole human race, I'm so sorry. And I looked at my boyfriend, who's also Black, and he's like, wow. And I was like, thank you. And I was like, I appreciate your apology. And I was like, but more than anything, I just want you guys to make sure you're using your resources. Look up Black-owned businesses in the area. Look up Black television shows or Black movies that'll give you more of an understanding of our culture and exactly what we're going through. And for so long, because I moved around a lot, I always had Black friends and white friends. It was never just friends, because, you know, I'd go out to certain events, and like, I feel like I wouldn't always get invited by my white friends because they wouldn't think that I was interested in certain things. Like, don't assume I don't like Taylor Swift because I'm Black, you know? So it's just, over the last week, I've come to realize that so many people are scared to speak out and scared to ask questions because they're white. We appreciate you just asking, what can I do? Like, what is it that our culture has been doing wrong for these many years? How can we make a difference? Just ask. Google it. You know, there's so many people here who are willing to give you all the answers, and who are willing to hold your hand, and we love you. We want to support, you know, all the resources that you guys can take advantage of, and that was really it. I just, like, I'm still like on a high from yesterday. I think we marched for like 5 hours. It was crazy, but like, it really touched my heart that somebody came up to me and my boyfriend, and they apologized. It wasn't really the apology. It was more so they were willing to speak up and to, you know, want to learn more. Yeah.
I mean, what a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. Amy, I think Amy Allison, are you on? You had something you wanted to say as well? Amy?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I'm here. I'm just being sorry my camera isn't working either. But I'm over here nodding my head and crying along with you guys. No, I just, like, Bree, what you said there, you know, being afraid, it's true. I am definitely, I don't want to get emotional too, God damn it. God. I'm afraid because I'm already being called out as like a white woman and being quiet. Like, I go to my feed and I'll see like, hey, you know, white people shouldn't be posting this because they're part of the problem, right? So how can I find my voice as a white woman when all I want to do is help and lift up, you know? Like, it's heartbreaking. Like, I want to get over it and I want to be like, okay, here's my story, but like, how can I when it's like both sides are against me, you know? Or like in general, like, I want to say something, but if I put myself out there, I'll be viewed as a privileged white girl. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, that's where I'm feeling extremely lost on it. because, you know, yeah, I have my story too. I might be that privileged white girl, but I wasn't born that way. We were homeless. I have a drug addict mother. You know, I got beat up because I was white, you know, as a young kid. So I have experiences too, but sorry, the dogs, but I don't know how to do it properly in a way that won't offend anybody, because I do not want to offend anybody. I want to lift someone up. I want to give someone a hug. You know, I want to be there for them. But when there's so much anger, you know, how do I find that voice? That's all.
Bria.
Maria.
I'm like,
hello, hi, how are you guys? I just wanted to speak on that. Amy, like, you're not alone. So I've dated outside of my race for a very long time. And my current boyfriend, he's Hispanic, and I've had, you know, my own culture be discriminative towards my relationship, towards the way that I speak. I was called an Oreo in high school because I was a Black girl that enunciates her words and was educated. And yeah, and so it's not about how you can overcome like all the problems. It's just about like speaking up and being true, because you're not a part of the problem. The people that say that you're a part of the problem is the problem. Yes. There's no like gray area. It's black and white. It's either you're super honest about the situation or you're not. Like, there's no in between. And you know, I took a graduate course when I was in college about culture diversity, and I was one of the only, you know, Black females in the class. Everybody else was white or Hispanic, and, you know, like everybody would like turn to me, or like one of my friends, like, oh, what do we say? Because we don't want to offend the Black community. Like, even just saying that is offensive, because before we're Black, white, whatever, we're like a person. We bleed the same, we arrive the same way, we die the same way. Like, we're all the same. It's just ugliness that gets in the mix of everything. So you just have to like everybody's saying, like, shut out the noise and just do whatever you can. Like, if you're gonna express yourself in the way that you want to. And if anybody else like doesn't like it, like everybody else said, block, delete, bye girl, bye Felicia, like close the door, turn the page, keep going. You like, don't be set back because of somebody else's ignorance, because somebody being ignorant is them in turn being arrogant. And so it's just kind of like one of those things, like you can't battle someone that's not willing to listen. You can't battle a wall and try to make it a door. So if it's not a door, that's fine. Go to the next one. Go to the window. Peep in through the dog hole. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, keep trying to share your story, because there's going to be that one person that is in your race or outside of your race, and it's just like, you know what? Yeah, girl, I hear you. I like what you're saying. And, you know, I'm here for you. So don't let all of the naysayers say, like, you can't speak, because even though, you know, you're being brought to the light a lot later, you still see it, and that's all that matters. So thank you.
Thank you. And there was one last person that said they wanted to say something. Elizabeth Millen, are you on, girl?
Yeah, right here.
Hey.
Thank you guys so much, first of all, for putting together this meeting. It is like, so I so needed this. A little bit about me. I am married to a Black man. We've been together for about 18 years, and I have 3 daughters who are half Black and half white. So Taylor, I think you're so brave to say what you said today, and I just applaud you, and my heart goes out to you. And all the things that you women are sharing today is just, I love that it's leading with love. So I want to share a little bit about my experience, and then how I look at it and how I process it. So when I was 17, I moved to New York City to go to college. I had been living in a bubble. I'd had no experience with race at all. And within my first year, I had a very horrific thing happen to me. I was on the D train, for anyone from New York, the Red Line, and I was jumped by 4 or 5 Black girls, and I was beaten. And I was very lucky that the subway train actually opened again, and I was able to climb out. And I think in their youth, they didn't realize where they were when they were jumping me because there were so many people around. So luckily I was able to escape. So having that experience from nothing, no experience with race at all, that was very huge for me. And over the years, as I've looked at that, I choose to look at those young girls and think, if they were my daughters, what would I say to them? And I would just say that they're beautiful women and individuals who got a little misunderstanding in their head that maybe that by beating me up, that would make them feel some kind of way. But the fact that they're human beings and they live and they breathe, that is value enough. And so when I think back at that experience, you know, it was so scary, but it was a gift to me to learn what it feels like to be attacked for my skin color, because I had never experienced that before in my life. So I've been with my husband for 18 years. And when you're in a mixed family, it's an interesting place to be because white people feel comfortable to tell you exactly what they think of you and your choices, and Black people feel very comfortable telling you exactly what they think of you and your choices. So you're getting it from all sides. And the way that we live our life, my husband and I, we have an amazing marriage. He's an amazing man. And another antidote is that he's an officer in San Bernardino, and he has been working the protests and the riots for the past week. And I will say this, guys, I think that when we post, we need to recognize that everyone is an individual and everyone has a personal experience, because my husband is an amazing officer and he serves his Black community of San Bernardino so valiantly because he wants to teach and to help them. And he was at the protest and he was targeted by peaceful protesters. Over 100 people were trying to incite a reaction out of him. And his fellow officers had his back. I mean, this is hard. He came home and he's so strong. And I'm like, wow, how did you feel? How was that? And he's like, you know, I have a job to do. I have to be perfect on my job because I'm a representation of not only officers, but of a Black man. So just know that when you post, if you don't feel comfortable, don't post something you don't feel comfortable. Don't feel pressure to post something if you don't feel comfortable. The dust can settle and then you can figure out what you want to post. But leading with love is always the right move to make. It's always going to be accepted by others, but just know that everyone has a different perspective. And you can share your perspective, but you have to know that some people are not going to like it. And it's easy to say, oh, just block them, just unfollow them, it's nothing. But this can affect families. I've experienced it myself. So just know that if you don't know what to say, that's okay. If you don't have experience with race, that's okay, or racism or anything. I didn't until I got jumped, and then that was a rude awakening. And since then, I've experienced it over and over and over again. And with all that experience, I still don't know what to post because I know that no matter what I post, someone will judge me. So what did I do this morning? Because last night was really hard. So how do I look at it now as far as Beachbody? Because I don't want to give up on this. I love Beachbody. So here's what I do. Beachbody to me empowers people. It gives people an opportunity to build a business and it empowers them. And that's across the board. It doesn't matter what color skin you are, doesn't matter what socioeconomic place you're at. If you can come in and you can have the vision, then you have the opportunity. And everyone here is supporting you and supports the community that we bring in, right? So what I look at it as is that Beachbody is my way to share love and share this opportunity with people so that they can realize their own potential. When I think back of those girls who jumped me, I wish, I think of them like, what would I think if they were my daughters? I wish I could hug them and hold them and tell them that they are worthy and that they have so much potential. They don't need to mess with me to feel any kind of way, but that they are amazing women and they have potential. And I think that that's what we can do here with Beachbody, is to show people how to be a light by being a light, and show them, you know, it's okay to not know what to say. It's okay. I feel that way. I feel like sometimes I see people posting and it's disingenuous, and that is really hard to see. So if you're going to post something, it better be from your heart. You better feel like you can stand on it. If someone comes and challenges you, can you say, no, this is my truth. I know this to be real. I love people, and this needs to be said. That's all. If you can say that, post and be a light and do it. But if you are worried about it, and if you worry about what people will say, then give yourself time. It's okay to take time. It's totally okay to take time. And to all of my mamas out there who are raising mixed babies, empower your babies. Your daughter's hair is beautiful. And if you tell her every day that her hair is beautiful, she will believe you. And she will rock her afro, and she won't need to be getting affirmations from her classmates about her hair. My daughters have crazy big hair, and I took the time from the infancy to learn, how do I nurture their hair? How do I take care of their hair? How do I cornrow? I do box braids. I do it all. And why? Because they're important, because they're a human being, because they deserve to be loved and to be seen. So empower your babies, no matter who they are, what color they are. Empower them and show them that they are capable of so much. And your friends who are going through a lot right now, your Black friends who are going through a lot right now, empower them. Empower them by showing them, telling them, how are they being strong right now? How are they inspiring you right now? What are you learning from them right now by their actions? You know, my mother-in-law and father-in-law are from Haiti, and they came here with nothing. And they built a life of privilege for their sons because they worked hard. So when you see your friends working hard, you notice that and you point it out to them and you show them, you are an American who is hardworking. You are making a life for yourself. That is amazing to me, you know? So I'm sorry, guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for letting me talk about this, because as a law enforcement wife, I can't go on social media and talk about this because, you know, there's fear of being targeted. That's part of being a law enforcement wife, and I accept it. It's okay. Some women go out there and say everything in public, but I really appreciate being able to talk to you guys. And I thank the women who decided to do this talk, and just know everybody has their personal experience that they're drawing from. So just remember that.
Liz, you're awesome. That was so good. I'm trying so hard not to cry. I keep crying every time a new person speaks. I'm like, whew. I saw Papa Bear Andre was like giving you like mic drops, and he was very proud. Our hosts, do you guys have anything else that you want to share? One thing I wrote in the comments was I don't want this conversation to end, but because it can continue on as long as forever, as far as I'm concerned. We can keep it going in our team group and pin it to the top of the page. And unless you guys have anything else to say, like, I can close us out. But by all means, if you guys want to leave some last thoughts.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for sharing y'all's hearts. This is how we move forward. If the world could do what we just did, like, and make it a norm, then like the world will literally, I mean, it's cliche, but it will be a better place. Like, if we as a society, if we took the time to sit down and listen to each other's thoughts, and mind you, I said listen, not just hear, but listen to each other's opinions, thoughts, and perspectives, and then figure out, okay, instead of not only are we going to listen, but how, like, what can we tangibly do to move forward? Like, it will be so much better. So thank you guys for being on this call. I really appreciate it. My spirits are lifted. I feel like you guys, you know, got something out of it too. And yeah, like Angie said, we can continue the thread on the group, but just thank you guys so much for being a part. Latifah?
I agree.
Yeah, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. I know, like, I'm seeing still a bunch of people want to jump on. I think we're actually over the hour. We're hitting an hour and a half, so we are going to wrap up. But if you want to share your story, definitely drop it in the comments when we do post the thread. Keep an eye out from Angie. She'll post it to the top of the team page. Share your story, share your truth, share your questions. I know a few folks also have resources and links they'd like to share. Tiffany, I saw you wanted to share some things. So definitely you guys just reference that moving forward, to find the words, to find the education, to find the way forward. Let's just continue to link arms and just show the world that, you know, we're not backing down, we're in this together, and we'll just come out stronger because of it. So thank you guys.
100%. Thank you ladies for doing this, for your leadership, for coming up with the concept of doing this. There's people saying this felt like therapy. It did. I think we cried, we laughed, we did all the things. To the ladies that spoke and everybody that spoke up, amazing, like beyond words, amazing.
And you guys replicate this, like truly, this is how we keep moving forward. Like, replicate this with your own coaches and in your challenge group. Because if we're feeling like this, imagine how, you know, the people that we're coaching and our challengers, they feel it too. So replicate it.
100%. It's an honest conversation. That's what we did, you guys. And like that, the reason why I'm mostly so emotional is I'm just so freaking proud to surround myself with such amazing people. Like, I always tell Andre, like, back before I was a coach, I always wished for friends like this, and I didn't have friends like this. And you guys truly are just like the best friends a girl could ever ask for. So thank you. And I'm so beyond proud of Team UpRoar, of our family, of this company, and just all of you guys. So I love you guys. Have an amazing evening, and I hope that your cup is filled from all of this. So I'll see you guys later. Bye, dudes.